Imagine for a moment that everything you know, everything you believe about yourself, about the world, about happiness or failure, is nothing more than a collection of shadows projected on a wall. Over 2,000 years ago, Plato wrote, "The greatest prison is the one where the prisoner does not realize the chains exist." The greatest danger for the human mind is not fear, nor failure, but settling for what seems obvious. Everyone claims to want freedom, but almost no one dares to seek the truth that liberates, because it means letting go of old certainties, facing discomfort, and accepting that much of what we live may be nothing but illusion. Today, I don't promise easy answers, but I promise a journey to cross the cave, to question your shadows, and perhaps to find, or at least to long to find, the light that can change everything. Imagine yourself chained since childhood, inside a dark cave, never able to turn your head. All you see are shadows, reflections of objects manipulated by unseen hands behind you, between a distant fire and your back. For someone who's never seen the light outside, those shadows are everything. How many of your deepest convictions about success, love, beauty, purpose might just be distorted reflections of other people's desires? Plato invites you. Ask yourself where your ideas come from. How many of them did you truly choose? What in your routine, your habits, your fears, might simply be repetition of what was projected onto you since always? It's easy to point at the ignorance of others. Harder is to distrust your own shadows. The cave doesn't need bars or wardens to work. Habit is enough. We are creatures of habit, and when left unexamined, our habits become chains. Have you ever wondered why you repeat the same things, even when you know they won't take you where you wish to go? Checking your phone the moment you wake up, seeking group approval, fearing judgment. Routine anesthetizes, soothes, but also imprisons. The secret of the cave lies precisely here. When everything repeats, the mind stops noticing it's trapped. Plato warns, every unexamined habit is an invisible chain. Have you asked yourself how many of these chains make up your daily life? Plato describes the puppeteers, those who hold objects between the fire and the wall, creating the shadows everyone accepts as truth. Who are the puppeteers of your era? What do you believe about money, success, love, politics, body, happiness? That has never been questioned simply because everyone around you thinks the same. Parents, school, advertising, social media, algorithms. How many opinions did you purchase ready-made without ever stopping to consider if they were truly yours? The risk isn't just being deceived, but never realizing you were, and spending your whole life defending truths that aren't yours. How much of your identity is truly yours, or just a reflection of a carefully staged theater? All liberation begins with discomfort. It might be an event that doesn't fit the script, a question no one wants to answer, or simply the emptiness of doing everything right and still feeling that something is missing. Plato shows it's in this first moment of doubt, often painful and lonely, that the impulse for truth is born. Do you remember a time when reality seemed too artificial, too rehearsed? What if that discomfort is the beginning of your awakening? Few have the courage to turn their heads. The gesture seems small, but it's revolutionary. Turning your head is asking, what if all this is only half the story? Where did this uncertainty I carry come from? Could it be that what I've never questioned is exactly what most needs questioning? Can you remember the last time you truly changed your mind? And when did you notice that accepting without thinking was more comfortable, but from one dangerous? Seeing the light hurts. For someone who's spent a whole life in darkness, the brightness of the real feels aggressive, almost unbearable. Truth disorients, dismantles, requires the ego to let go, demands courage to change direction, humility to start anew. Most people give up before they even begin, because leaving the comfort zone feels like an invitation to chaos. Plato knew there's a price to free yourself from the cave. The price is losing comfort, easy certainties, blind acceptance. But every light that hurts also reveals, and it's only by seeing what's real that you can finally be free. Plato is brutally honest. Most, when faced with pain, prefer to return to the cave. We prefer comforting lies to uncomfortable truths. The world attacks those who challenge the status quo, because every change forces others to reflect on their own lives. How many times have you seen someone be ridiculed or attacked just for thinking differently? How many times have you yourself rejected an idea, not because it was false, but because it was simply too uncomfortable? Few dare to walk out of the cave. To leave is to give up comfort, risk loneliness, trade applause for silence. But it also means winning a new chance to discover what exists beyond the expected, the taught, the allowed. Every step out of the cave is a small death and a great rebirth. Are you willing to cross the darkness to find your own light? Outside, the astonishment. The world is bigger, more complex, more beautiful, and also more dangerous. Seeing the real means admitting you know almost nothing. What seemed so certain turns out to be only a fragment, a version. How many opportunities, encounters, and dreams have you missed out on, simply for fear of stepping off script? Real life is not easy, but only it can truly be yours. Plato's sun represents the source of truth and goodness, that which illuminates everything, but can blind those who've never dared to look at it. Seeing with the mind means accepting that reality isn't limited to what the eyes can show. What in your life do you insist on not seeing, even knowing it holds back your growth? Seeing the truth isn't comfortable, but it's the only path to authentic freedom. Mental freedom, Plato says, comes with a price: responsibility for oneself. No more excuses, no more blaming others. Now, you are responsible for your choices, your quests, your falls, and your ascensions. It's frightening to realize you are, in fact, free to live your own truth, and also free to bear the consequences. Those who discover the light feel compelled to return and warn those who stayed behind. Plato knew, almost always, the return is frustrating, painful, and sometimes dangerous. The world rejects the different because it's a living reminder that everyone could be living more. Have you ever tried to show someone a new path, only to be met with disdain or anger? Why is it so hard to awaken those who still love their own shadows? The Platonic method is dialogue, not monologue, not a shouting match to see who's loudest. To liberate the mind is to accept hard questions, to listen instead of just trying to win. When was the last time you allowed yourself to be transformed by an honest conversation? A free mind seeks the good, even if that costs acceptance, comfort, or fame. Plato teaches, true happiness lies in living aligned with the good, the just, the beautiful, not just what is convenient. Have you ever given up something easy so as not to betray what is true in you? No one is freed once and for all. Plato's philosophy is an invitation to keep climbing, always, always, to the next level of light. What's the next question you need to ask? What is the new step that awaits you beyond today's shadows? Plato's secret rule is a daily choice: to question, to distrust the easy answer, always to seek the light, even when it's uncomfortable. What will you do now that you can no longer pretend not to see the chains? Are you ready to leave the cave and never again settle for living off mere shadows?